Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody. I have something on my teeth. Merry Christmas! I'm gonna be conscious because I think I have something on my teeth. Hi! How is everybody? Okay, let me say hi to everybody and greet you. A Merry Christmas. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Rachel. 37 Sports. Sam Jones. Elizabeth. Joyce. Phils. Namhar. Nancy. Chris, Lindsay V, Joyce, Darren, Janine, Elizabeth, Leah, Marie, Bang Luna, Angel Star, Cindy, Simpleton, Darren, BTS Paved the Way, Apo Bangpo, Jojo, Simpleton, Halina, Rhea, Rain Ranko, Owensky, Didi, Sam L, I Pablo, Janine, Katie, Riley, Joyce. Hello. How is everybody? Merry Christmas. I know it's the 24th for some of you. Hi, Rhea. Happy holidays. I like saying Merry Christmas. I know that it's not politically correct because some people aren't Christians. It's just that um, I guess since I'm the one greeting, it's coming from the deepest of my faith to your heart. Merry Christmas. I don't mind being greeted any way, so you can greet me any way you want. um, Soul, hello. Nora, MK, Tracy, Patty, Emma. How is everybody? I haven't read the interview of J Hope. Some people are sending me some messages on Twitter, though. Some people are speculating that he's either going to have a tour or perform in a big stadium or something. Christmas Eve in Singapore. Oh my gosh. So we're driving tomorrow to our cousins for to spend Christmas there in to our cousin's place to spend Christmas there. So we're leaving very early tomorrow. Merry Christmas, Joyce Lee Legrand. Stop it. Merry Christmas. Let me get my pillow. Merry Christmas. How is everybody? Have you gotten your dream gift? Your wish for this Christmas? Merry Christmas. How is everyone? My dog is looking at me, wondering why I'm not paying attention to him. It's hot. Hot in where? In Singapore? You're still in days? Why? Because of the interview of J Hope. I haven't read it. Han, hello, Halina. 5:33 p.m. Christmas Eve in New Zealand. Oh wow, thank you for spending it with me. I'm going to be taking my puppy with me. Um Whenever I can, I take him with me. I went to Miami and I took him with me. So if it's just a driving distance, he's definitely coming with me. Tusok. The Weavers live, the live stream that they did. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ria. Does Debak get jealous of your stuffed animal? Not really. He actually doesn't like, unless the only reason he likes being held by me is because he knows that I'm going to scratch him. I'm going to give him some belly scratch or behind his ears. Otherwise, he actually likes his space. The live was a great present. I know I haven't seen it. We've been so busy at work. There's just some late year problems in the office that I had to attend to. Sandy, you're not late. You're just in time. I just started. Janine. Yeah, so dogs are smart. They know how to get your needs met. Yeah, so he doesn't really mind if I'm like, he doesn't like me holding or touching other dogs. Like he gets very jealous I've actually seen him like push a dog away from me that he doesn't like. But if I'm like, so I can't hold any dog or touch any dog when he's around, or when I touch a dog and he's not around, he could still smell it. So he'd be um, scent marking me when I get home. Morton be not too far. Oh, okay. Joyce, best you are cheating. That's what he thinks. He's like, you cheated. Who were you with? What if all BTS's pets are in one room? I don't think so. I think like Bam is going to be the one who's going to be like really crazy because he's the youngest in the group and he seems to have the most energy. And then, but I think Holly is going to be the uncle because he's kind of like a little older now. Um, who else? Mickey's still alive, right? But he's also older, so he's probably going to be the grandfather. Tusok are so dear kind men who love armies. I know. They all love armies. I saw I've seen some of the clips. So it seems that they're planning to do like another thing together. I haven't even watched their uh the first I haven't even watched the Runjin episode. Jin and Hobie spoke to armies. Bam wouldn't handle little dogs. I think he can't. Um, so I think, yeah, I think, of course, Mickey's too old. So it's just going to be Holly and Bam. Bam may be the youngest, but he is the biggest. Just like Jungkook. Well, RM is the biggest, but did you hear NJs are going to do a radio show on Christmas Eve without Ador's knowledge? No, I haven't heard. The odd thing is, so I'm pretty in touch with what's happening in Korea because I have a lot of friends there, and I've made a lot of connections. But they really aren't making as much noise as they used to. So it used to be that even my friends would tell me that when once they open anything online, NJ will be all over the place. Like they are hardly hearing anything about them now. So people I think it was a fad. Like people were so occupied because it was new, they were so interested. And then now because things are starting to happen, new things are coming in, they're kind of losing the novelty. Like they themselves are starting to lose interest. And to them it's more like a nuisance than anything else. Um so it's odd, like a lot of my friends confirm that they're not like, people are not as interested anymore. And even my friends who are actively searching for news to tell me, they're not seeing a lot anymore. It could be 50, well, 2 minutes, sorry, not 15 minutes, 2 hours of fame. So I think it could be that. um I do know that they have some loyal fans still, but I also know that, and I think I've mentioned this before, that a lot of the fans that are claiming to be fans of NJ are just haters of Hybe and BTS. So now that, so they're not really, they won't be like super fans that will be supporting NJ heavily when they make a comeback. So I think it's starting to show because a lot of groups are so active during this time, they're not really paying attention to what's happening with NJ. That being said, I think I've mentioned several times before that of course I don't wish them ill. I don't wish anything bad on them. They're young kids, and I've been young once, not anymore. I'm ancient now. But, I know how it feels to have dreams and whatever. So I hope that they get the kind of support that they really, really need at this time. That being said, I think the novelty is wearing off a little. Um, So let's see. I think I heard that the trial is going to start with Mama Roach. The trial is going to start January 6th. So we might start hearing some things again January 6th. There was an attempt to revive some of the old news about BTS, specifically Sajagi. That didn't really go anywhere. um, I think partly because of all the things that Jin is doing. To Jin's credit, he's really keeping us busy with all the things that are happening, like all the content he's dropping, and then J Hope dropping clues as to what he has in store for us for 2025. Let's manifest a tour. So yeah, so I think, by the way, I'm really manifesting that if he's going to do a tour, that he does an actual stadium tour. So, and because we know that Suga actually regretted not taking the advice of Big Hit when they told him to do a stadium tour and he didn't follow. I hope that J Hope does a stadium tour, and for him to secure the record of being the very first, probably, I think he's going to be the first Asian native solo act to sell out a stadium. So I'm really hoping that for him. I'm just thinking about it, it's making me so excited. So I'm trying not to think about it because I get so excited. So Cindy said, I'm waiting for the next Ron Jin where it looks like he kidnaps Hobie. So I haven't watched the last episode I watched of Ron Jin is the one with the kid, but I skipped a lot. I just watched the one with the kid because it was so funny. A lot of the clips that I was seeing on Twitter, they were so funny. So I decided to watch it, but I skipped a lot. Hopefully, this Christmas, this Christmas break, I'd be able to watch some of it. Hi, BTS Eden, and yeah, still with BTS. Okay, so let's go through. I'm personally impatiently waiting for Ramsey Khalid trial on March. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Have saved money yet for Hobie tour. No one has saved any money. I thought I was saving some money and decided to. And then Jen just dropped all of this gorgeous merch, so I had to buy. So I'm with no money again. So I'm this time I'm blaming Jen. So I'm restarting. I'm sure that J Hope is going to drop something. So I'm anticipating I'm going to have no money again. So I hope they come to Sydney. I'm broke from renovation this year, Janine. What did you renovate? I need to find a job and save up. You do have to save up. Um, and yes, you do need to find a job. I'm sure you're going to get one. Um, I if you're a Patreon subscriber, I gave my Patreon subscribers a free copy of my book on how to find online jobs. Um, so if you're a Patreon subscriber, you should have gotten that. I think it's very, very helpful. I've shared before that I got started. A huge part of the reason I actually came to the US is because of my online work. I started with Upwork. I've always had two jobs. Like from the beginning, I've always had two jobs. So I was working for the advertising agents for the advertising in the industry, and then I decided a cousin of mine told me about Upwork, and I decided to take a job there. And it was always like there; it was a constant thing. In fact, I only stopped doing Upwork when I got this job that I have there right now. But prior to that, I was like always on Upwork. So you'll find a lot of good jobs there. So I hope you try it. Jin's Christmas kidnap of Hobie will be a scream. I'm saved sometimes, but it isn't enough if I have to travel for a concert. So manifest they will come in South Africa. You can do it. You can say I believe in you. I think the run Jin with Hobie will be tomorrow. Oh, I'm so excited. I'll be driving. I am going to drive. So it's drive. Okay. I want to share some stuff with you. Let me see. Let's start with something positive, shouldn't we? We should start with something positive, right? Okay. Let me see. Let's start with BTS. Oh, I'm looking for some comments while I'm going through, and while I look for the slides. I hope they go to India, Australia, and both Northern and Southern Africa. Also, I hear Europe needs some BTS love. There's a lot of things happening in Europe. Well, there's a lot of things happening in the US too. So I'm um, start and end with positive. My last, I don't know, my last portion is about this. I just want to talk with you about this series that I just finished. It's called Copycat Killers. Who among you love watching serial killer stuff like Dexter or Criminal Minds? Anything with serial killer. So that okay. So me no, you don't like it, Namhar. So I like watching those like forensics, thriller. I love those kind of TV shows. So there's something that I want to recommend. I'm not gonna, of course, I'm not going to. I will try not to give away uh, any spoilers, but it's more about the idea behind the show. It's like the cerebral part of the show, what it says about our society, basically. I like CSI. I like CSI too. So I'll discuss a little bit about the series. I'm not going to go through the gory stuff, just like the philosophical idea behind the series and why I think you should watch it. But before that, just want to go through some NCIS. I love NCIS too. Bea said I used to like Criminal Minds. Used to? What happened? Because it ended? Warren said, I do like detective, police, procedurals, though K drama has some very good ones. Halina said, I'm a juvenile probation officer. Oh, wow. Ooh. Okay, so just want to go through some of the. It has been like a wild ride for everybody, and we have not just for BTS but for armies. I think this last 2 years, and we have 6 more months before everyone actually completes their service. I'm so excited. I think as soon as January 1 hits, I'm just going to start losing my mind. Like this is the year they're going to return. But I think it has been I've learned a lot from them in the last 2 years when they have been releasing their own stuff, pushing the envelopes, experimenting with their art, getting to know themselves, presenting us with something new. I think they have accomplished a lot for themselves, but also for the Asians in general. I think they've helped us in so many ways, and I think it's just but right for us to appreciate what they have accomplished. One thing, it's not always celebrated. There's so much focus on records, sales, being number one this, most streamed that, but that we rarely really give attention to the actual thing that they have achieved, like how they've actually made a difference and made an impact. And that's what I'm sort of concentrating on. So in this part, I just want to look back at some of the most important effects or impact that they have made, most important achievements, but not necessarily in quantitative terms, but that what they have been able to accomplish, not just for themselves, but for Asians in general. Number one, I think because of what RM did, he was able to introduce K-pop and Asian pop to critical thinkers, like art critical thinkers, through his RPWP documentary and his album. We all know that he pushed himself to create this based on the documentary itself. He pushed himself to create the documentary and the album simply because he felt initially that if he doesn't do this, he's going to lose the momentum once he comes back um, after serving the military. So he didn't want to lose the momentum. And that's why he decided to do this. And in the process, I think he realized that there was more to it than just him wanting to keep his momentum going. There was so much pent up emotions, things that he wasn't able to express, and also things that he wasn't able to experience when he was leading BTS. So, but through that, he was able to present to the critical thinkers the other side of the often ignored side of Asian pop artists. And that side is the cerebral side, the very, very intelligent side. That we're not just about pop, and we're not just about fads. We're not just about cuteness and great dance steps or dance routines, but we're also, there's so much substance and there's so much meaning to the words that they don't understand. So I think that is an important achievement because it's inspiring. It's going to inspire a lot of critics to give Asian music and Asian films uh, a better look, uh, more effort to try and understand what we're actually saying, even if they don't understand the language. And it's all thanks to RM. So that's why I hope eventually we give enough credit to RM, that enough people will talk about just how important the awards that he has won is. That he has The awards that he has won are. So, for example, it is one of the most critically acclaimed, if not the most critically acclaimed, Korean album and Korean documentary of all time. It has been named as a contender for Record of the Year by so many publications, from Billboard to AP to Consequence of Sounds to Rolling Stone to NME. All of them felt that the album actually deserves to be nominated in the Grammy and many other award shows. It wasn't nominated, but I think it speaks a lot about the quality of the work if you have an almost unanimous praise, an almost unanimous assessment of the album that it deserves to be a contender for album of the year, record of the year. Second achievement, I think, is what V has been able to achieve. I feel like at this stage he really is breaking away from K-pop. I think if there is one member who is going to be able to first establish himself outside of, like, really plant himself solid in another genre, I think it's going to be V, and it's going to be in the jazz genre. It all started with his first album. No, sorry, it all started before he even created his first album. He has always been a lover of jazz, and then he continued in his first album. So for those people who are saying that the first album that he released was all thanks to the other person that he worked with, no, we all know that he has always been in love with jazz, that this has always been the other genre that he wanted to pursue, and he did. And then with Friends, and then finally with White Christmas, being invited by the estate of Bill Crosby, I think it speaks volumes of how of his potential and the actual respect that he can garner in that genre. Also, I don't think he's the first K-pop artist to actually try jazz, but he is the first K-pop artist to be accepted, like to be actually to have his at least one foot inside the door. Um, so yeah, I think if we're going to be honest, I think he's going to be the first one. He has the chance of being the first member to actually really completely break away, establish an identity that's purely um, outside of K-pop. Mickey, happy birthday! Happy birthday! Next is JK. He gets a lot of flack for having a lot of collaborators in his album. He has Lato, Jack Harlow. He had remixes of other of his songs. But if we actually be honest, if we are just being honest, the truth is that the other artists that he collaborated with are nowhere near his commercial power. And I think that was the key. And I think it was a conscious decision as well for Bang Shiuk, for Jungkook, for Bang Shiuk, and for Scooter Braun, to make sure that his collaborators will not be more powerful than he is, so that nobody can steal the achievement from him. So this is one time when you know that it was Jungkook who used the formula instead of the formula using the Korean artist. In here, he knew what he did was simply get an artist, get a partner, get a collaborator that is already in radio because that's what he needs. The other aspects, he got it covered. Streaming, trending, sales, he got those covered. The one thing that he didn't have any power over is radio. And so they got him collaborators that are already in radio, that has enough push in radio, but isn't as big as he is in other aspects. And so even if his number one Billboard Hot 100 song has a collaborator, it you can't say that it was because of the collaborator because it's bigger than the collaborator. So, and this is one formula that no one has been able to use successfully yet because so far all other collaborators of other artists have been bigger outside of BTS have been bigger than the Korean artist. So this is one strategy that worked only because it was Jungkook. Georgia is saying Jack Harlow is up there in the commercial power, at least in the US. I would agree that he is probably the most popular among, well, he is popular. I'll put it that way. He is popular. But if you look at his streams, he is being outstreamed by a mile by Jungkook. Um, I Jungkook can sell out a stadium. I have no doubt. I don't think Jarlo can sell out. Giancarlo can sell out a stadium. He could probably sell out an arena, probably, but not a stadium. So that only proves that the commercial power is on Jungkook. What they have, the advantage that they have is radio. Halina said V does not need any collaborations. He's perfect by himself. None of them actually, yes, I agree with you, and none of them actually um, needs any collaborator. Then there's the rise of Korean hip hop. Hip hop, Korean, it is, I think we all know that hip hop is a genre that is owned by African Americans, and it's almost impossible to be compared to any kind of genre because it's so unique in how it came about in the development of. It's just such a unique genre. So it is understandable that that genre will forever be connected and identified with African Americans. So it is the what Suga did, being able to sell out all stadiums, the arenas, being able to sell out the entire tour is monumental by itself because he is the first legit Korean rapper who has been able to make a significant mark in the US. He's not the first foreign rapper. You have Bad Bunny. Um, uh, there is many other Latin artists that are rappers who made their mark. So Asians, though, because of the stereotypes, because of the image of Asians, we were never a pinch hitter for hip hop. So for Suga to be able to be acknowledged by Korean critics and to be able to establish his commercial power in the US, that is the proper introduction of Korean hip hop to the West. Now, will he be able to push it to heights similar to African American rappers? I don't think so. As I've said, the genre is very much identified with African Americans. The history is so identified with African Americans that it's I you know the entire genre is because of the history of African Americans. But I think with his achievement, he has been able to um, establish just how much respect Asian rappers or Asian hip hop can actually get. Um, Someone Epic High, Joy said Epic High was moved to a smaller venue in Chicago. Oh, I did not know. Still with BTS said, Bang PD recently spoke about how he and BTS have changed the way GP views Asian culture. RM transcended K-pop long ago. I'm excited for Jazz Journey, V's Jazz Journey. So this, I think, is not he just like RM, Suga isn't getting enough credit for what he has been able to accomplish for Korean hip hop. For him to have, and if you look at the venues, it's not like dominate, it's not even highly dominated by females. If you look at the venues, it's like a good 30 to 40% men. So you know that he is getting enough respect from the core of the genre. I have nothing against female fans. I've always thought that women have good taste in music. So, but I think we need to accept that there is, because of the history of hip hop, how it came about, its development, there will always be that core fans, and he has been able to garner enough respect from them. So just like RM, I think he deserves more respect than what he's getting for what he has been able to accomplish. Next is establishment of legit US presence. Um, I have to confess that I'm one of those who never really counted, uh, who missed, I think as a proper term, the who missed the actual potential of Jimin in the US. That is why, just like everybody else in the industry, I was so shocked when he got number one in Billboard Hot 100. I never imagined that he would be able to. Not even in my wildest imagination would I have been able to imagine that kind of a scenario, him getting number one. It's not an easy thing. If it is, everyone would have done it. Um, but the mere fact that he was able to do it without any legit radio support in the US was amazing enough. And then came Who, and I think he, by now, he has been able to establish just how strong he is in the US, which is not a very easy market. That's not an easy thing to to solidify, basically. um Instead of him peaking in face in Like Crazy, it almost feels as if Like Crazy was actually a preamble to what he actually has in store. It's a preamble to his actual US power. um the mere fact that Who is now being supported almost purely by streams, he's not getting a lot of sales, and he's not getting a lot of radio support, like almost no radio support. uh, I think it's time that people just admit that there is something about Jimin in the US. There's just something there that is not being tapped yet. We all know that it's not being tapped because he doesn't have the opportunity. He's serving in the military, so But I think this one, he was here with Who, he was able to legitimately prove his US presence. I was actually going back to some of the records they were established because I'm compiling it for my Patreon. Um, and I realized that Filter actually entered Billboard Hot 100. I think it was the first or the highest ranking a song, a solo song among the members during that era. So I was like, I should have gotten a clue. But anyway, yeah, I think it's about time for people to just really acknowledge and see that there is Jimin in the US. There's like a love affair brewing there. Um, if there is anybody who really pushed his limits creatively, by he pushed his limits by actually going back to his foundation, it would be J Hope, because he didn't just create. It was I never imagined he would create something like Jack in the Box. Like, of all the things he could have done, that's the one direction I did not expect him to go. I remember him saying, I think he was in the process of creating Jack in the Box when he said that when he created Hope World, he thought he would be able to establish his creative identity, and he felt like he didn't. And so that's why he had to push it all the way into the other direction with Jack in the Box. So I felt like this was just like he when I heard that, and when I saw Jack in the Box, the first thought in my mind was like, oh, J-Hope has issues. He has issues and he's dealing with it creatively, which is a good thing, of course. So I he demonstrated just how much you can push creatively, and I don't think anybody has pushed anything creatively as hard as he did. So after Jack in the Box, he did Hope on the Street. So those are three different projects from three different extreme opposites in terms of directions, the spectrum that he was able to cover. And I think he's laying sort of the foundation, or he's creating a template, so to speak, for other artists or other idols to follow if they want to establish, where first, if they want to discover their creative identity, and second, if they want to establish their um their creative blueprint. Like, this is the blueprint, this is the template that they can follow. There was there a question? I thought I saw a question. MK said, Many people don't like rap except for BTS rap." Halina said, "I love Jack in the Box. It was a surprise, but a nice surprise. It was absolutely. I did not expect Jack in the Box at all. I did not expect this was the kind of album someone from K-pop, someone, yeah, well, he came from K-pop. He isn't anymore, but like a K-pop idol would actually ever come out with." Darren is asking, did Jimin gain some footage with Western fans as Fast and Furious soundtrack? I don't think so. If I'm being honest, Fast and the Furious actually used Jimin and not the other way around. And it was the wrong way to go, in my opinion, for Fast and the Furious. If I felt like, dude, if you wanted to use the commercial pool of Jimin, you should have made Jimin the main artist and then made everybody else the support. Then you will get the support of Jimin, like the kind of support that Jimin is getting right now. Um, but instead they sort of gave him the minimum in that, well, not the minimum, because he had equal parts with other artists. So I correct myself, it's not really the minimum, but he had equal parts with other singers in the album, in the song. It's just that I felt that um if they had given him more parts, they would have gotten the kind of pull that they were looking for. And this is a common mistake among people in the West when they're trying to collaborate with BTS. They feel like, okay, I'll give you the minimum, and that should be enough for you to get. That's not how it goes. You have to, number one, that is true. Me Too is correct that you need to give them a good song first. If you don't want them to write the song, you need to give them a good song first. It has to be a great song. Second is that you need to give them a considerable part in the creation of the song and in the song itself. um I wouldn't call the song terrible. Angel is not terrible. I do like the hook. I just don't, not the hook, the chorus. I just don't like the rest of I feel like Jimin could have written a better melody, quite honestly. But anyway, that's my view. I don't think he gained any new fans. I think it was the other way around. They kind of used him to gain some traction for the song, but they did it so wrongly. Leia said 5 artists was too many on Angel Part 1. Correct. I agree. Okay. Next is, oh, sorry. The text is actually behind. I wasn't able to arrange my slides well. So what's written here is that this is Jin could actually be the most successful Korean artist with a band concept. And I think if he actually pushes through in in experimenting with this genre, he could be a legit pop rock star all on his own. And this is all about pushing their creativity, but also about finding his identity. And for him to actually conquer the pop rock genre, it would be monumental, because there's a lot, because he could pave the way for other bands from Korea, because there are a lot of great bands from Korea that are not getting the attention because they don't have a torchbearer. And Jin could be that for them. So I know Jin said that he doesn't want that now and forever he BTS will be the only band he will ever be a part of, and am so happy to hear that. I respect him for it. If he changes his mind in the future, I will totally understand, but I do believe him. But I hope that he will at the very least continue pushing himself into that, like maybe even a session band will be okay. But I hope that this is not the last of him, of pop rock from him that we will ever hear, because I feel like he can conquer it. And once he does, he can actually pave the way for other pop rock acts from Korea and eventually from Asia. Beth said Jin is great at rap. I'm sorry, I was in a hurry. I guess I did not arrange my slide well, but that's what's written at the back of this. Okay. Next that I think that they've really proven, and this is more about them than anything else, but it's really their bankability. So from the highest grossing tour to number one in streaming to breaking records in Billboard, the group has proven that they can hack it on all on their own. There are a lot of other Korean acts, K-pop acts in particular, that are sort of trying out new things and trying out becoming a solo act. But no one has come close to the bankability and the commercial success of BTS. And I think this is going to be important as they as they reunite as a group and when they eventually come back to doing solo activities. They may be probably the only group in history where each member will be equally commercially successful. And when I say equally commercially successful, I'm not talking about each member having equal gross revenue, right? Because as I've said, I think the kind of genre that RM is pursuing, it will never be as commercially profitable as pop, because just because of the nature of the genre, but it's equivalent. The success will be equivalent. I also love the fact that they actually uh gained music fans, like actual music fans. I know that a lot of people, especially if you're in OT7, you don't like the idea of one member having fans of their own, like members that are just their fan, like sorry, fans that are just a fan of one member. But I think it's a good thing. And I also think it's natural, especially if you're good in the genre that you're pursuing, because that means that you are actually become you're being acknowledged in what you are doing. So I think it is healthy that if you actually curate your timeline well, your account well in social media, you will find that there are more people that are becoming fans of one or two members, that are just fans of the members, not necessarily of BTS, because of the quality of the music that they are presenting. And there are a lot of them, like they're not really concerned about fan wars or this or that. They're just like, I like this, I like Jungkook, you know, that's who they like. I like Jimin, or I like Suga, or whatever, and that's who they like. And I think that's a good thing. So I think if you're able to really curate your social media profile, your timeline on Twitter, your home in YouTube, you will actually eventually find all these fans that are just really fans of the member, not really getting involved in fan wars. They're not even K-pop fans. They're just like music fans, pop fans, or whatever. So I think that's a very important achievement. The one thing I don't like is that it has become a weapon for toxic solo fans. Like whatever one member does becomes a reason for them to hate. I don't, at this rate, this solo toxic fans, I just want to make it very clear that I'm in touch with many solo fans, fans with biases, fans who are just rooting for one member. I am in constant communication with many of them, and many of them are just like they just don't care about the other members. They just like one member, and I'm okay with that for as long as you're not bad mouthing other members, for as long as you're not saying vile things about other members. I'm good with you. So I just want to make that distinction. There are toxic solo fans, and then there are just like fans with biases, or fans of one member. So the bad thing is that while we have these fans that are just rooting for one member, we also have fans that have just made it their life mission to badmouth other members and to badmouth Big Hit and to accuse Big Hit and Hybe and whoever of mistreating their favorite and whoever. So that is the only bad thing that I feel resulted from the boys, from the kids having their own solo careers. Other than that, I love the direction that they took. I love their growth creatively, and I am loving where they are growing as solo artists. If at all, I hope that they continue pushing, and I hope that they continue um, trying out new things. I feel like based on the interview of J Hope, just based on the clips that are being sent to me, like screen caps of the interview, I feel like he's working with outside producers, which I think is good. Um, that is going to give him a chance to further grow. So I hope they continue doing that. Um and and I also hope that they continue, or they start doing things that are really outside their wheelhouse, like really try out new things. I do think that they have so much more skill and talent, and they have so much more to offer that they haven't really tapped into yet, but I'm looking forward to that. That is my view. What is your favorite part in their solo venture in chapter 2? Real armies know that BTS is seven and that the members support each other and are happy for their success. Of course, they are. Absolutely. Let's see if there are questions that I can answer. How come Bang Luna said, Anita, I think a lot of them are cosplayers. Elizabeth said, Soul YG, that was a quote RM told Jackson Wang when he was going through a bad time. MK, respect is essential, otherwise the members will get hurt. Beth said, I think it is reasonable that each gains solo fans because they are exploring their own styles. What is unreasonable is when those fans expect the member to remain solo. Yeah, I think those fans that are just insisting that they leave Big Hit, that they remain solo artists, that are hating on other members, I don't really think they're fans necessarily of that member. I think they're just using BTS as an outlet for their frustration of, and as an outlet because they have their own issues. But I don't think those are real fans. I think real fans will first and foremost appreciate the art and will leave the artist with, will respect the decision of the artist in whatever direction they take their career. Okay. P Dog is getting more competition. He has no competition. Do you think they will make a movie? I hope so. I've always hoped and I've always thought that they're going to create a BT21 first. They're going to do a BT21 animated movie. I also thought that they're going to do a Chacos movie, animated movie. So, and then I've always thought that they're going to do a movie for the Young Forever series, the most beautiful moment in life series. So I don't know if all of them will act, but I do know that movies and films, that's in their horizon. I just don't know what kind of participation they're going to be doing. If I am to guess, I feel like one is going to do musical direction. At least one of them will do musical direction, and probably another one will do direction, like he's going to direct the movie. But can we talk about how Wildflower made me cry? Oh, how Wildflower made me cry. I am a BTS army who loves all of them with a bias line. Who's your bias line, Leah? Miki said, agree. My friend became a fan of Jungkook, but she supported Namjoon, so I have been helping her with BTS content. Darren said, Leia sounds like a good name of a band. What is a good name of a band? Okay, chapter two, no censors. No more BT21 stickers. That's what chapter two is about. Lara said, those toxic fans should read on Hobie's latest Weverse interview. Bang Luna said, when the members come back and show their closeness, I hope the solos drop off. I don't, Bang Luna, I think you're going to be disappointed because even when they are apart, they're showing their closeness and they're still not dropping off. I mean, for, for, when was it? I think it was today, right? When Jungkook and Jimin had their signature in one, like they left their signature in a restaurant they had dinner in. And I thought, my God, this two, they're already together every day serving. And now they're going to restaurant. Now that they're actually on a break, they're still meeting up so that they can have dinner or lunch together. So if that's not closeness, I don't know what is. And then you have RM talking about how they have actually become closer, not that now that they are apart, closer than when they have been working together daily. And then Jin professing that he's not going to be a part of any band other than BTS. So all of these things I think is a clear sign of the seven, making it formal, screaming to the world just how much they want to be together, just how much they treat each other as family, and the solos are still there. So Bang Luna, you're in for a huge disappointment. It's not gonna happen. I know that your statement is not really meant to be realistic, but you know what I mean. A Brown, how will the exclusive contract impact what they pursue? Their contract, if word in the street is to be believed, it's so flexible. It's one of the most, well, of course, I've never seen their contract. Just putting it out there, making it very, very clear. I have absolutely no contact or any kind of connection indirectly or directly with BTS or Big Hit or Hybe or any company that is working with them. Okay. Nothing. So everything that I hear is just really just rumors. So that's clear. So what I hear from the street, all these rumors that I'm hearing is that the reason Bang Shiyuk had to actually go to the board of directors to have their contract approved is that this you will never find any kind of contract like this in any part of the world for between a label and an act. It's just so flexible that it is so unfairly tipping to the side of BTS. So whatever it is that they pursue, they will have ownership, and it's almost like a leave whenever they want, like they have the option to leave whenever they want. That's how it's structured. It's hard to explain, and I also don't want to say much because, as I've said, I've never actually seen the contract. These are all rumors. So but that's what I heard, that it's one of the most flexible contracts you will ever come across with. Um okay, drop off was a euphemism. I know, Bangluna, I said that. I know that your statement wasn't like meant to be realistic. Okay, let's see. Monica said, I am afraid that some solo stands will push for their bias to go solo when the guys do their comeback. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable with each other. I don't think anybody will make these kids feel uncomfortable with each other. Leia said, my bias line is Yungite and Jimin. That's a good line. What do you call that line, by the way? What I like about chapter two is that they were able to explore the style that resonates with them individually without having the others' input. Yeah, I think RM voiced it out very, very clearly when he said that when they were in a group, there were so many details that they're missing simply because they do not have the time to actually deal with it because they're doing so many things. They're traveling, rehearsing, shooting, doing interviews, flying, planning. So the tendency is for them to agree on like the important things, like high level things. And then there are other people that help them with the small details. But with them doing the individual albums, they're involved in every little thing. So he said, like, oh, I've never even thought about deciding when a bass is going to go in, exit the music, but he finally was able to like actually make those decisions and think about it because he was doing everything on his own. So that part I definitely agree. Okay. I love a lot of artists and I don't feel, Bea said. Oh, skipped some. Caribbean said, Anita said Suga is working on something. Hints have been given hints by releasing photos of him working in the studio. Rona said, just my theory. Um, Anita, I think those photos were old. They're not allowed to work while they are serving. So I think those photos are old. Rona, just my theory. I think J Hope want to use the US for a month, went to the US for a month because of all the adore nonsense. Maybe, but he said that he kind of wants to like really get immersed um in the culture of the West because he was doing a lot of music that came from here. So that was the formal reason he gave. And yeah, I'm glad that he stayed in the area. Bea said, I love a lot of the artists and I don't feel the need to hate on the ones I'm not a fan of. It's crazy to me to waste my time actively hating on something. I don't. Yeah, that's why I think it's really about their issue, not necessarily about BTS. Belinda said, yes, on Weavers, they did a Christmas special. It was so awesome. Caribbean said, my bias line is Hobie. Oh, yeah. The Hobie, Jin, and JK. What's that bias line name? Okay, they have seven tattoos. They do have seven tattoos. The true solo fans will get sucked into the BTS rabbit hole. I'm Nero Cat Pink. Been a BTS stan since 2013. I'm a Jimin solo stan at the same time. Yes, I do get DM saying, why am I a solo stan? But I don't disrespect others. Don't pay attention. For as long as you're not messing with the others, you're not bad mouthing the others, you shouldn't have to explain to anybody. Sylvia said, I think a lot of them will go away when they are physically back together as a group. They will get bored and come back around where another solo album comes out. Nero Cat Pink, I actually tweet or talk about Jimin more because I generally love his voice. He has such a godly voice. Okay. Ophelia said, I am late. Is the comeback announcement for Serial? Announcement for Serial? Hi everyone. Hi Ophelia. I didn't quite understand your question. Um Belinda said J-Hope mentioned on Weavers he's been busy writing music. I think 'cause he has something on 2025. I think it was intentional for him to take his time to finish the album. This is just I'm just speculating. I don't know him. But I think it was intentional for him to sort of take his time before he releases his work to get acclimated back into society after serving, and also to really explore his artistry. And I think the fact that Jin actually released his album, so he probably was also considering that there is that Jin is busy promoting his work, so he has time to actually come up with his own. I also think that he's going to tour. I'm hoping history. Jack in the Box album was so good, top tier. Serious, real. Bea said, serious, real, serial. Is the comeback announcement serious and real? Oh, no. As far as I did not, sorry, I did not get your question right away. So I haven't seen the Weavers interview. I haven't read the Weavers interview. But and I haven't watched the live stream of J Hope and Jin. But based on what others are interpreting, he's sort of saying he will have like a big show, either a tour or like a huge concert. That's what they're getting out of what he said in Weverse. Still waiting with the company to confirm the rumor from this morning. For some, Bang Luna said, for some people, K-pop is a blood sport and a chance to brag and compete with others. Phaedra said, I'm glad I saw this one. This was on live, almost missed out on saying hi at least. Hi, Phaedra. You're halfway. You came in halfway. So you still have some things that you can join in. That news is from the industry analyst. It's not official. Ah, okay. Yeah, the analyst said that yeah, that's not like, it wasn't an official announcement from Big Hit that they are going to have a comeback second half of next year and then a tour 2026. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all manifesting for a tour, right? It's just that that specific announcement didn't come from Big Hit. The face recognition system is to prevent tickets bulk buys. People would buy and then over sale for a lot of dollars. Oh yeah. Yes. Okay. Can Army help make a petition for BTS? Sandy's asking, can Army help make a petition for BTS to come to Africa? Please, they can do way better than Chris Brown. Trust me. Tour, tour, tour. I heard that this is just from like some people that actually tried like entertaining the thought of sending their artists to Africa for a show. They said it's more like bureaucracy that's getting in the way than anything else. So, like when they say bureaucracy, I'm thinking maybe it's harder when it in terms of like organizing, getting permits, organizing security, all of those stuff. Like for example, it's easier, although China is stricter, it's easier to actually do a concert in the Philippines than in China. Because in China, you know the process for red tape. Like if you need to pay people to get things done, you know who to pay. In the Philippines, you actually don't know who to pay, even if you're willing to pay for things. So that's how I interpreted it initially when they said like, "Oh, it's a bureaucracy." I'm like, "Is it because it's like what, like regulations you can get around or something?" But I don't know. Um, Cindy said, "Sounds more like too many hands in the pocket." That's what I thought. Like when they said bureaucracy, that's what I thought. It's like, is it because you can't get around rules, like, or not really get around rules? Like you don't even know how to comply with rules, right? Like even if you're willing to comply with rules, you don't know how to do it because it's just so confusing. So that was my initial interpretation. I don't, well, that's my only interpretation. I don't know if they mean anything else. There are a lot of red tapes in China. Yes, exactly. But you know who to pay. Like you know how to get around that. If you're willing to pay for something to get it done, you know how to get it done. But you're in the Philippines, it's so confusing because everyone is just hinting at something, but they're not giving you a direct answer. So you're like, I have money, I'll pay you, let me know who to pay. But but I may be wrong. So I'm not really sure what they mean when they said bureaucracy. Maybe a combination of his voice, his musical style, and his presence. Hype isn't big on Payola. They're not big on Payola. I agree. Sandy Itaka said if Chris Brown security and organization was that good, BTS will be perfect. Bang Luna at Beth, my take is that it's not about the music at all. Okay. I'm not really sure what you guys are talking about. Elizabeth, can you see our seven dressed in Thunderdome outfits for an arena blood sport performance? Modern Thunderdome outfits. Okay, let's talk about the independence of Idol. So, in the lawsuit of KG, the one that Vicha member filed against um JYP, the actual contract, Phaedra said, I'm unsure what the topic is. So we were just talking about the like the greatest achievements of BTS in their solo era, and then we got to the concert. Somehow we got talking about the concert of J-Hope that we are manifesting, the tour that we are manifesting. Okay, so the in the lawsuit that KG filed against JYP, which for some reason is a public document, and the addendum annex, sorry, the attachment of the lawsuit is the actual contract of KG, and then um, I compared it to a contract in the West, and then also there are several former trainees that talked about the contract that they signed. So I was able to compare what is the difference between a Western contract and the Korean contract, and also just how much independence an idol can really get. Leah said the thing with the chat is there are five chats going on at once. Okay, so um, the one major concern it seems of KG is that she feels like she's not really an independent artist, like she's not being treated like an artist. Hence, she resents she's rejecting, not resent, but she's starting to reject all the restrictions because for her that is not part of art. Like what she wants to do is art and she wants to become a musician. And I think this is just my personal assessment. I think that's where the discomfort is coming from. Like she's realizing this is not for her. Like it's okay for other people maybe, but for her it's like this is not what I want to do, and that's why she filed the lawsuit. Now, and I think that is true, that that is the main misunderstanding between a label and an artist. Like labels, production companies, management companies, a lot of people see them as patrons of art, as philanthropists, lovers or of art, when in fact they're not. They are a for profit organization, and we need to come in terms with that because that's not going to change. Disha is asking, what do you think about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's It Ends With Us debacle? So I'll cover that in a bit. um, there are many things that you often will hear if you hear about artists in the West talking about their contracts. And I'll explain those terminologies. 360 deal is one of them. So, in a 360 deal, the label typically invests in the artist by funding album production, marketing, touring, and promotional activities. So, for example, if you're signed under Republic or RCA or Columbia, they're going to fund your promotions, they'll market you, they'll produce your album, give you the right kind of producers, and they will also assist in brand building efforts. So they're basically creating your brand for you, right? um, Now, if they rely solely on your sales of the music that you're selling, they won't recover their earnings, sorry, their capital. So in the 360 deal, they're actually going to take part in everything that you're earning, even if it is not just about sales of your music. So if you sign on a 360 deal, the artist agrees to share a percentage of their revenue from all income streams, not just record sales. So, touring and live performances, merch sales, sponsorships and endorsements, licensing deal, and publishing rights. So, if you sign like anything basically that you do, they will take part of that. The rationale is that they were the ones who invested on you and built your brand. If they did not put their money on you to market you, give you a PR training, give you the PR, give you the connection, then you're not going to be who you are. So all of this they take part, right? The recording, merch, books, others, appearances, touring, publishing, licensing, all of those stream of income, they will take a part in that. They'll get a share. Another common thing that you will hear is sunset clause. Okay. So, in a sunset clause, an agent or manager will continue to receive a percentage of income even if you are not being managed by that person anymore. So, for example, if I'm managing BTS and I closed a deal for BTS, let's say, for example, a Netflix series, I closed that deal for them. And after 1 year, so that has been aired. And then after 1 year, BTS decides to fire me, right? So, okay, Fairlane, you're fired, they say. And I'm like, I can force you, fine. But all the income you're going to generate from that Netflix series and whatever will become of that Netflix series, maybe it becomes a movie or something, I will still get a part of it. That's called the sunset clause. But then after it gradually, my share will be gradually reduced as time goes by. Okay. So for example, in year one, I get 10%, year two, I get 8%, year three, 6%, year four, 4%, year five, 2%. And then 0% eventually. So that's the sunset deal. Okay. Even after I get fired, I still get a percentage of any of the earnings of any of the deal I closed for you. The lifetime agency clause does not go down. So they I will just continue to earn forever in the same percentage. So for as long as that song is earning, if I close that deal for that song, for as long as that song is earning, I will get 10%. That's the lifetime agency clause. So year one, 10%, year two, 10%, year five, 10%, 10%, until lifetime, I'll get 10%. A lot of agents are actually earning from this. So another thing that you will hear often, and this has become a butt of jokes in the Hollywood industry, but this is true. They have perpetual right over your likeness throughout the universe. So if Elon Musk actually succeeds and put life on Mars, and you become a star in Mars, I have a right over your likeness in Mars. So whatever you earn in Mars, I will actually take a part of that. Take part in that. Um, so anything that you produce, merch, book deals, anything, I have a right over that. So perpetual right over your likeness throughout the universe. Cindy's asking, how do you keep all this in your head and understand it? My head is spinning. Okay, the reason they put this, there's many reasons they put this part in as a clause in the contract, but one of them is the flexibility of content creation. So if they take you, so for example, I become a character in a movie, and that character becomes popular, and they decide that they are going to do a spin-off of my character, then they want to make sure that they have the right to do that, right? They have the right to do that. And so they want flexibility for content creation. That's one of the many reasons that they put that clause. So if that character becomes a character in a game, they want to make sure that they have rights over that. um Film sequels, video games, merch, all of that, they want to make sure that they have rights over that. Okay. They also want in the contract for K-pop, they also want total control over your physical appearance and demeanor. I want to make it clear that this is not just physical appearance, but also demeanor, so they can dictate how you're going to act in public. And many other idols have talked about how the agency actually controls it. I think it was maybe got seven, one of the got 7 members. No, maybe not got 7, but he was talking about the character that was given to him was supposed to be the mysterious type, so when in fact he's actually a bubbly person, but because he was given the mysterious character, he can't really laugh out loud, he doesn't really smile, he doesn't talk much during the interviews, even though he really wants to say a lot. But because that was the role that was given to him, he was trained to act a certain way. So they're not just taking over your hair, tattoos, piercing, how tan you're going to get, how many pounds you're going to gain or lose. They're also taking control over how you're going to act in public. Ownership of everything you produce. So they will get ownership of everything you produce: songs, videos, social media, and all of its content. If you want, Gina Everywhere is a former trainee in Korea, an idol, and she signed several trainee contracts. Mnet, he was a trainee for JYP once. I think he was a trainee for Starship, and she talked about some of the clauses in the contract. I summarized, I integrated some of it here, but I will leave the link of his post where she discussed the contract, so you can watch it if you want. So this is her. That's Gina, and she was talking about um yeah, so she said, like, I got one contract and into another. Many people knew the circumstances that I was still an attractive artist to be signed, hence the continued signing fee. So she was talking about signing fees. So she negotiated that if she's going to sign with an agency, she wants a signing bonus, basically. So an outright payment for having signed in the agency. She never debuted. I think she decided it wasn't for her. right? Like a year before she was going to debut, she decided it wasn't for her, so she decided to leave. But at the time when she was training, they really wanted her. She was an attractive talent for them, so they wanted to give her. So she had the leverage. She was able to negotiate for some terms, including signing fee. She also said that nowadays training fee is being taken out. It is becoming common for the agency to not charge the trainee, the idol, for training. So I'm sure that many of you know that in the old times, like gen like first gen, second gen, they actually have to pay for their training. Now you can actually negotiate for it to be taken out. And if they like you enough, they'll take it out. And then they're also trying to negotiate the ownership of social media talents. So many of these uh, trainees, once they become formal trainees of an agency, you're not allowed to own your own social media. So they will allow you to open your social media, but they own it. And if you leave, you have to leave your social media account with them. So if you uploaded any kind of video, that goes to the agency. Everything that is going to earn it, that channel or social media account will earn, goes to the agency. But Gina said that now you can actually negotiate, and if they like you enough, they will allow you to own the social media channel that you created after you leave the agency. Um, Okay. So this is a capture of one part of her interview. She said when it comes to online sales, so she was talking about the how they split the income. She said it's not fixed. You can negotiate that. So sometimes it happens that there are it's in some instances different members of a group will have different income distribution. So like for example, this is just an example. Like John Smith will get it has a 70-30 share. 70 goes to the agency, 30 goes to John Smith. And then like Paul Smith will get 80%, and then sorry, Paul Smith will get 20% and the agency get 80. So it's not fixed. You have to negotiate for it. So she said when it comes, but you can't be unreasonable as well, especially because nowadays it's all about streaming. The agency actually doesn't get a lot as well, and almost 50% goes into the platform. So she said when it comes to online sales, the management doesn't get that much to begin with. This distributors get almost half of it, and then the production company, and then the artists get their share. So whatever is left is actually what's distributed to the talent and to the agency. So it's not like you can ask 60% because not even the management gets that much. Okay. So it all depends on how desirable you are for them. So for like, as you know, my favorite member of Mauve or Meow is Ella Gross, but she has been chased by she was like the black label actually courted her. So she had the leverage to negotiate her contract. So if you are desirable enough, you can actually negotiate. Now, some can negotiate for creative control, such as a guarantee to be given the chance to write or participate in the creative development. There are groups like BTS who has had creative control from the very beginning. So as you know, Bang Shiyuk actually made a commitment to BTS that they will always sing the songs that came from them, that they will write all the songs, that they will always have the final say. So from the beginning, that was something that BTS asked for. Okay. Even before they had the star power to do it, even before they proved their worth, commercial worth, they already negotiated for that. It was very clear that for Suga and RM and J-Hope, the three original members, to stay, he needed to give that guarantee, and Bang Shiyuk gave that guarantee. Some land in an agency that nurtures their dreams. As you know, for IU, right after the first album, she started taking control over her own creative. So she started writing music, she started making the decisions and everything. And Edam, or what was the original name of her agency, they gave her that creative control. And it was also the album that sort of made her become this popular. That started her journey to becoming the IU that we know now. Stray Kids from the beginning was given total independence when it comes to their music. In fact, for JYP, if JYP wants to give them a song, she actually has to go to the leader, Bang Chan, to ask if he can give them a song. So they make all the calls when it comes to their career. And then you have Source Music, who has learned from their experience, from Hybe's experience or Big Hit's experience, to give their members or their idols creative control. So they're now nurturing Yoonjin's writing and production skills. So she is given the chance to, and she's allowed to release her own music. And I'm going to make a prediction that in 2025 she's actually going to release a mixtape. Some actually renegotiates their contract as they gain popularity. So, for example, Mamamoo, halfway through their contract, started taking creative control over their own music and their own schedule, to the point where, according to the CEO himself of the company RBW, they sort of became the go between the members. Like they were just, the members were making all the decisions and they were just making things happen for them. The same thing happened with G Idol. So after the second or third album, Soyeon, the leader and also the primary producer and songwriter, she just started taking creative control, and it was something that she renegotiated. So the main thing, the main difference is that we do need to remember that a label is a business. They are there to sell, and an artist is there to create music. So if you're a fan, you have, it's natural for us to, of course, want the best for the artist that we are supporting, but let's not lose of the fact that that is the nature of the beast. A label is a business and they will always try to make some money. um so it's kind of, we can't expect a snake to start walking, because that's not their nature. Right? The same way we can't expect a dog to start talking, because that's not something they do. So labels are there to start to make money. So we always need to make sure that we understand that concept. If you don't have the money, so this is the for the artist, if you don't have the money to invest in yourself, then you need to work for the agency, work hard until you actually start returning the capital of the investment of the agency, and you gain enough influence. Then you can control your own creatives. And this is something that the now CEO of Big Hit actually said. She This is her line to all the trainees in Hybe, that once you come and join Hybe, make sure that you understand that you're working for the company, that this is not like a passion project, that you're doing this because you want to further or advance art. You're here to work. And the Hybe is actually, and the labels under it, they're all companies that are trying to make, all of them are for profit, not just Hybe, but also YG and SM Entertainment and GYP, Starship, RBW. All of those agencies are for profit. So don't expect them to try and do anything else. So if you don't have the money to actually invest in yourself, then you're gonna have to make money for the company until you get to a point where you can actually get what you want. Pfizer, or do what you want. Pfizer said Geisha went into training already, owing then during debut they started paying back training, housing, food, etc. They couldn't go solo until after. True. That is true. That is true. She said it perfectly. It's the same thing for Geisha. They'll fund you, they'll invest in you. So don't think that you are this great artist that they're trying to preserve and that they're trying to advance art, that you're delusional. They're there to make money. Always remember that. Like an agency, a publishing company, a label, they are there to make money, not for anything else. If they do not want to make money, they're not going to put up a business, not a for-profit business. So it always is just a matter of choosing the right agency that will be reasonable enough to give you a chance when it is the right time. So, for example, when 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 Edam, the original agency of IU, when they saw her potential, even though she was new, they were reasonable enough to give her a chance. And when she made it, then she started dictating the direction of her own career. It's the same thing for Mamamoo. They've or G Idol, they've proven their worth. And so they were able to take control of their own creatives. I think the future is going to change a little because of all the attention that's being given to contracts, slavery contracts, creative control, and how many idols are actually demonstrating just how independent they have become after establishing their group like BTS. I think it's going to be highly fragmented and localized. And when I say that, I mean there are going to be artists that will be big in they're going to have their own niche. I don't know if you know Addison Ray, but she is a TikTok. I believe she's a TikTok superstar. She's big in that niche and she created herself. So she has total control over her own career because she did everything from the very beginning. And there will be idols like that. There will be idols who will try to just hack it by themselves and they will succeed, but it's going to be very, very niche. Um, or you're going to have somebody like G Idol who's very big in a specific country. Like for them, they're big, they're humongous in Korea, not so in the US. The same thing is true with NCT. They're big in Korea. I attended the Inkigayo summer concert and they had the loudest screams. They there were other like Stray Kids was there at that time. The old shorts was there, but nobody had the big louder scream than NCT. They are big in South Korea. So there will be more artists that are big in a specific industry or specific segment or specific region. And like the West, I think music is just going to be a marketing tool. I think to a certain degree it already is. It's not really what K-pop is selling. It's really a marketing tool for them. So they shape you into an image that they know the public wants to consume. And from there, they're going to create other products or other streams of income using your likeness. I think eventually the metaverse is going to be a major source of income. They're going to be using the likeness of many of these idols in the metaverse, not just gaming, but also events in the metaverse. They're going to start producing products in the metaverse that you can actually translate as well in the physical world. And then you're going to have IPs like BT21, who happens to be the most successful IP of all time, apparently, BT21. Good job. So there will be more efforts to create things like this. Hoan said Big Hit announced TXT will have a long break after January, and then TXT schedule was announced with activities in March. Okay. So that is, I think, where it is headed. And I also feel, let me just make sure. Were you seeing my screens when I was talking? Or did I forget to share it? But anyway, so I think that's where things are headed. I was not sharing my screen, so I was just talking all this time. uh I will show you. You were just seeing me and you were just like watching me talk. Okay, wait. I want to show you some of the things that I prepared. Okay, I will share it now. Just so you can Warren is looking they're laughing at me. The 360 deal. The 360, thank you. We love so the 360 deal label is the one that is in charge of promoting you, but then the artist has the obligation to and also building your brand. Label is the one that's in charge of that. But also the artist is the one, but in exchange the artist is the one, um the artist will have to share their income with the label, even if it is not directly related to their music. And it's all because the label feels that they, number one, they really don't earn much in music, and also the label feels that they were the ones who built your brand, so they deserve to earn from whatever it is that you are going to earn. And then the sunset clause, it is the clause that when an agent or a manager it is when the agent or the manager continues to receive percentage of your earnings from any deal they closed, but it goes down eventually. Like in the first year, 10%, second year, 8%, 6, 4, 2, until it's zero. But then you feel like your face. Thank you. But then the lifetime agency clause is when it's constant to the rest of, for a lifetime. Like that, they will get a 10, they will get their cut 10% usually, until first for forever basically. And then I discuss perpetual right over your likeness throughout the universe, what it means, because they want the flexibility to be able to create content, right? Okay. Other things that they control your everything, your personality, but also your demeanor. So it's not just your hair, your tattoo. So it is marvelous that there are people like Jungkook and Jimin who can just tattoo themselves. And the agency doesn't do anything. And you have Jin who's cutting his hair in the middle of the night without asking permission from their stylist. So, but in the contract, they actually own everything. So songs, social media, and all of its content. So this is Gina. This is, so she discussed, she was a trainee of several companies in Korea, and she in her channel she discussed the contracts that she got. So I compiled many of the things that she said with what I presented. And she revealed that you can actually get a signing fee when you're desirable enough for the agency. You can get a signing fee. You can negotiate for that. She discussed how little you're going to get from streaming. um and then yeah, and then there are some that can negotiate for creative control. BTS did that from the very beginning. They wanted to make sure that they will sing the songs that they wrote. But there are agencies that are just good enough to know that they would like to give their idols a chance to actually create their own music, like IU, Stray Kids, and then Hyunjin from Source Music. And then others renegotiate as they become popular. Mamamoo, G Idol. But the main difference is that we always need to be cognitive of the fact that there is a difference in the objectives. A label is there to make money, an artist is there to make art. So, as an artist, if you don't want anybody dictating you, you actually don't have a choice but to either you find the right agency for you, the perfect agency that will just give you money and not care about the return, or that you invest in yourself. But if you don't have that, then you're just going to have to work for the agency or for the label until you have the power and you have the commercial pull to actually dictate your own. So, and then I discussed the future of the idol industry. I think it's going to be fragmented and localized. I don't know if you're aware of Addison Rae, but there will be artists that are popular in just a certain region or place, and then there are artists that and then eventually I think music is just going to be a marketing tool and not art for somebody, because it's going to be their likeness and the IP that will make money. um that's it. Okay, let's look at the questions. Bang Luna, I cannot speak. Okay, I think I saw some questions. um Georgia, see. I saw some questions. A Brown said, I thought it might be so your video didn't get taken down. Yeah, sometimes I do so that my video doesn't get taken down. Hi, Celine. Your laugh is so contagious. Pinayonsi said the US market is very different in that they want authenticity, particularly Gen Alpha, like young people sympathized with Chappelle Rowan's struggles with fame and mental health. I do admire Chappelle Rowan for being so outspoken and not being scared of like presenting herself and speaking her mind. I think more people should be like that, and I do think that more women should be like that. um I kind of am not sure about how people interpret authenticity. um a lot of people are still a lot of people still don't realize that a lot of the things that people say are authentic aren't really authentic. Like, they have a different idea of what authenticity is, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Like, um it's very hard. Like, a lot of this social, I think it's the quintessential example of having an influencer posting photos, like, um of herself, like, or himself. Like, they'll claim that this is like an ordinary day for them and they look gorgeous, and look at their photos on their phones, and they probably take took like 500 shots before they chose that one perfect shot. Like, is that authentic? Like, sure, that photo is authentic, but there's also the 499 authentic photos that you didn't show. So the authentic part that we're seeing is highly curated still. And so everything put together, like, everything that they put out is a part of themselves, so it is authentic in that. But if you put everything together, it's a highly curated role that we're seeing, like a highly curated timeline that they're presenting to us. So I'm like, I still have reservations on how young, just like how people interpret authentic. um I think it's still very, very unclear for them. um okay, I'm looking for questions. So important to have a lawyer review everything. It is very important for a law to have a lawyer review everything, and also to be clear on what you really want. I may be coming across as very, like, rude for saying that you just have to accept the fact that a label will make money, that a label wants to make money. It may be like painful to hear, or maybe arrogant to even say, but a lot of realities and truths are actually very uncomfortable to hear, but that's just a fact. Like, a lot of these companies, if not all of these companies, were built so that they can make money. And so that will always be the main difference between the two. An artist is trying to make art, a label is trying to make money. So you're just going to have to find the balance. And the truth is that, if and I'm speaking as a business owner, if I'm not going to make money, I'm not going to invest, right? So that is as clear as day for me. If I can't make money out of you, I'm not going to invest in you. If I can't make money out of a product, I'm not going to create that product. And so if you're an artist and you're not willing to invest in yourself, explore alternative ways to promote yourself, then you don't have any other choice. If you don't want to do the work yourself, then go to a label. You're going to have to play by the rules of the label. Now, there are labels that are super duper evil. Of course, we don't want that. But at the core of it, they want to make money. Sylvia said it's not rude or arrogant, it's the truth. Can you please say what you think about Blake Lively? Oh, Disha. Lively. Um, it is I've heard a lot of not so nice things about Blake Lively, that she is difficult to work with. She's a diva. I have never worked with her. I can't speak on that. Um, for those asking, if the agency that Justin Baldoni hired is the same agency that Bank PD, that Hybe America owns, it is the same agency. Okay. So yes, it's the same agency. All right. So, and they are the agency that handled Johnny Depp. Okay. So okay, for Blake Lively. So I've heard a lot of not so nice things about her. And she did get a beating during the promotions of It Ends With Us. Now, regardless of how much of a diva she is, if it is true that she was taken advantage of, that is not correct, right? I can hate somebody so much, but it doesn't mean that I think that person deserves to be disrespected or abused or taken advantage of. Okay, that part. For Justin Baldoni, I also don't know if there is any veracity to the accusation of Blake Lively. So I think the both of them should be heard. And I think the both of them should be treated. I think Justin Baldoni should be treated innocent until proven guilty. But I also think Blake Lively should be given a chance to talk, and she deserves her day in court. So that's where I stand now. That's about the case. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is like," they're posting a lot of videos of um, Blake Lively like giving somebody an attitude during an interview, and she may be not nice, but as I've said, just because she's not nice doesn't mean that she deserves to be taken advantage of. Uh, but again, until Justin Baldoni is proven guilty, then we're just gonna have to treat him. We're just gonna have to assume he is innocent. I had a father. I have friends, male friends. I have nephews. I have cousins, male cousins, and I do want them to be treated innocent until proven guilty if somebody accuses them of abuse or whatever. So, whatever it is that I want for the people that I love and for me is how I'm going to treat other people. But also, Blake Lively deserves to be heard. No one should shut her down just because they don't like her. Now, for PR, uh, and this is going to sound very very evil for a lot of people, but damn, they're good. That's what I will say about the PR agency. If I am in trouble, I'm going to call those people because damn, they're good. They are so good at what they do. If it's true that they manipulated public opinion, that is what you want a PR agency to be. That's the kind of service that you want. Um, that is why I'm going to pay a lot of money so that you can do exactly what I wanted you to do. They were able to turn around public opinion on Johnny Depp. That proves just how good they are. And they were able to manipulate public opinion during this promotion. That's how good they are. I don't know if there is any truth to the Justin Baldoni accusation or whatever, but in the context of the PR agency, they were hired to do a specific task. And the task was to make Blake Lively become the antagonist and make Justin Baldoni the protagonist. And they were able to do that. Was it evil? I'm not going to talk about morality of any sort. On a professional level, it was the job that was given to them, and they did it. So, again, if I'm in trouble and I need some help in swaying public opinion, I'm going to give them a call. They're very good. That's what that's what that's what you pay millions of dollars for. Now someone is saying like, oh, I think the PR agency sort of forgot just how much money Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds have. I don't think that was their concern. Again, they were hired to do something and they accomplished it. So Hohen said how his public opinion matters for the court. It isn't. It's not supposed to be matters for the court. It shouldn't be taken into consideration. That's what I said. It's like they're good. That's all I can say. They're good at what they do. I wish I could be that good of a PR person. Um, Belinda said, good night. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your family and making memories. Take care and be safe. Good night, Belinda. Merry Christmas. Angel Star said, like OJ Simpson's lawyers, just like their lawyers. Cindy said, there is a his side and a her side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. Yeah, I always say that, Cindy. Thank you for like taking the words out of my mouth. It's usually like the truth is usually found somewhere in the middle, right? So there's like, I'm sure there is that. You can't. I mean, for Justin Baldoni, he is a Hollywood actor trying to secure jobs. I can't blame him for attempting. It's not an attempt. He was actually to sway. He was able to sway public opinion until this came out. So Bang Luna said public opinion is for the sake of their professional image, not the courts. Correct. I agree. Hoan said, I don't take side until I see proof. Right. I also agree. This was not her year. Still with BTS said this was not her year. Timing seems to be suspicious. Could be. It could be. It could be. Um, or it could be that she was waiting to gather more evidence and she was finally able to do that. It could be that um yeah, I mean it could be timing. It's just that this is the timing that they thought was perfect. I missed it. There's allegations against Baldoni. Yes. So um she filed a case. Blake Lively apparently sued him for taking advantage of her, sexual harassment, and retaliation, basically. So what happened is that there were some. She filed a complaint in HR, and she wanted about Baldoni's alleged abuse, and she wanted to make sure that her complaints were addressed by the HR and by the studio before she goes back into shooting. So I apparently the HR department and the production company actually addressed her complaints. So that's why she went back into shooting the movie. But um Justin Baldoni retaliated by hiring a PR agency and sort of framing her to be an evil person, like like they wanted the public to think that she's using feminism to manipulate the public against Justin. So she filed a formal case against him. What did he do against her? Mickey is asking, what did he do against her? So during the shoot, there were some scenes that she did not agree to do, that she forced, that he manipulated her to do. And he did some things that she didn't agree to, but he did it anyway. He also hired a friend, apparently, um, to be on the set, and she didn't agree because there are certain scenes when it's sensitive. You An actor has the right to say who can be on the set, like who can be there while they are shooting. If the scene is really sensitive, the actor can demand that. And that's a common thing. Like there are, especially if it's a heavy scene or sex scene or rape or something like that, if it's a sensitive matter, the actors can say that I don't want, like I can only handle 5 people in the room or something like that. And so I think Blake, for a specific scene, wanted like specific people, and then Justin Baldoni hired his friend to do something, and she didn't allow it or something like that. um Georgia said, I think the timing is about the horrible. Just to give you an idea, I don't know if there's any Filipino here, but we have an actress. Her name is Vilma Santos, and she's one of the greatest actresses in the Philippines. And she was doing and it's not just always like, doesn't always just to be a sex scene. Like sometimes even if it's just a heavy scene, like a specifically difficult emotional scene, an actor will demand certain things. And so this actress this is the money shot, this is the money scene in the movie. And she was an overseas contract worker. She's coming home for the first time. She missed her children growing up, they hated her for it. And she came home, and there was this one scene when she was going to finally have a confrontation with her kids. It was going to be a heavy scene. Oh, June, there you are. So she was really going to yell at her kids. She was going to like all the drugs that you've been taking, every puff of your smoke, every bottle of alcohol or beer that you drink, those came from my blood, sweat, and tears. That's the line that she was going to deliver. So it was going to be really heavy, and it was going to be all on her, right? So she told the director that she's going to go in her room to like to condition herself, like to put herself in the role. So she said, "You're just gonna have, nobody can call me to come out. I will come out when I'm ready. And the minute I walk out of that room, you have to be rolling and nobody can talk. Like you can't say action, right? Like in the director will call action, like lights, rolling, camera, whatever, audio, and then action, right? Her condition is that you cannot make that call. I do not want to hear anything. I'm going to come out of that room, deliver my lines, and you better be damn ready because it's going to be one take. That was her condition. So, and she dictated that there will be no more than 10 people on the set, including the cast. So that's what they did. They waited, apparently, and she made, this is one of the best directors of all time in the Philippines as well. But she did not have a choice but to wait for her because that was the money scene. So she came out, um, and that they followed everything that she wanted. Like they did not call, nobody talked, nobody said action. She came out, confronted her daughter, started talking, and one of the most memorable scenes of all time in Philippine cinema. So you can set conditions like that. So Blake Lively, in that specific scene, I think it was like a rape scene, set out rules like I want this and that and that. I only want these people on the set. And Justin Baldoni apparently hired her friend to do something and she didn't know or something like that. Okay. But if you see the movie promotion, it was like they were promoting different films. There was also a disagreement allegedly on how they see the character. So for Justin Baldoni, he was very fixated, not very fixated, but for him, what he wanted was for people to see how this woman was abused, right? Like that is his focus as a director and as an actor in the film, that she was abused. She, however, wanted to make sure that people see a dynamic woman. Like she's a mother, an artist, a friend, a wife who happened to be abused. So she wanted to make sure that people, when they see women who are abused, she doesn't want people to think, oh, how, like a poor woman, like you're abused by your husband and you allow him to do this. She doesn't want that. She wanted to make sure that just like when a man goes through something difficult, he's not being identified with that traumatic experience. She also wants to make sure that this character will also be remembered for everything else who happens, like for being an artist and a wife and a mother, but also an abused woman. So two different perspectives. And so when they're promoting, it wasn't like they were promoting a cohesive movie. It seemed like they were promoting two different things, and then they were never in the same frame all the time. Hoan said, sounds like different in opinions to me. Yeah, yeah. So, but then there's also, yes, I agree. Like two different people seeing the same character differently, but there are also some people who are talking about like, oh, like there were, how do I say this? Like there were some people who felt that Justin was actually in his desire to represent women is actually failing because he's doing exactly what we're trying to move away from, and meaning women, what women are trying to move away from, in that being identified by how men treat us, right? Like that's his focus. Like the character of Blake Lively was an abused woman. She was abused by her husband. That's his focus as a man. When in fact, for women, what we want to say is, okay, we may be abused, but there's so many other things that we want. So don't identify us by how men treat us, by how men in our life treat us. So they feel like he may be pretending like he's actually representing women, but he's not helping because he's just doing exactly what we're trying to move away from. Does that make sense to you guys, or is it becoming too heavy? We were supposed to talk about something light because it's Christmas. But I thought it was an interesting take, like how people saw the difference in how they approached and talked about the characters. Cindy E, how did they get together to do this movie in the first place? I think Justin Baldoni actually handpicked her, if I wasn't mistaken. She wanted her to be in the movie. Ray said all our convos are good convos. Oh, I'm happy that you think this is a good conversation. But yeah, Angel Star 1632, Fairlane, how is your book coming along? In the next slide, we're going to see it here, all the characters. I actually bought that so that I can post all the characters so that I can explain it to you in the next slide. That's an answer to your question. But it's much more, there's a lot more progress. It's just I haven't talked about it because I wanted to really concretize everything. Miki said, I understand. Thank you for explaining so well. Yeah. So those are two different takes. I don't know. I don't necessarily consider myself a modern day feminist because I don't know what the word means anymore. I'm often confused what it means now. But I kind of agree with Blake Lively's take that I don't want people to be identified by their trauma. I don't want them to be identified solely by, or I don't want their main identity to be this traumatic or difficult experience in their life. I also want to like celebrate their achievements and the good things that happen to them. So yeah, those are two different takes. Before Blake wanted to show the layers of her character, but Justin want mostly one dimension. Yeah, one dimension of the character. This time, I will not forget to share. Um, but I haven't actually seen the movie. I hope that you do. I will try to watch it over the holidays, but one of the main things that actually turned me off was the fact that I did not want to see another movie that's just about another woman getting beaten up by the husband. So that kind of turned me off. Um, but let's see. Maybe I will show it. I just want to encourage you guys to watch Copycat Killer. This was actually based in a manga character. The main character is Wu Kangren. This is a Taiwanese character. This is a Taiwanese series, and it is about a serial killer. He is a prosecutor trying to catch the serial killer. But I don't want to focus too much on the gore of the movie. That is not the point. And that is actually not what attracted me to the movie. It's more about the cerebral part of the entire thing. It's on Netflix, Sylvia. Um, and it was only, number one, the motivation of the serial killer is different. A lot of killers become serial killers because of their trauma, a bad experience in their childhood, they were abused or something like that. This serial killer is different. The motivation is different. I'm not going to say more than that, but the motivation is different. Also, I'm only going to be saying whatever it is that has actually been publicly said already. Okay, so the motivation is different for him. It is vanity. And I remember that quote from The Devil's Advocate, delivered by one of the greatest actors of all time, Al Pacino, when he said, "Vanity is my favorite sin." The motivation, the psyche is coming from how people actually want to look good. They want to feel important. They want to be remembered, right? And the serial killer knew that very well, so he would constantly use people's love for attention, for validation, for the sense of importance. That is, he would constantly use that to keep people engaged in what he is doing. So this movie was actually done in the 80s. The setting, not done in the 80s, but the setting was 80s. So the this was way before the boom of social media, and yet he was able the series was actually able to demonstrate just how similar the 80s were when it was just about newspapers and TV with how we are now, that it is social media, everything is so instant, everything is on our phone. We are still manipulated by our vanity. It's still people wanting to get validation, wanting to be heard, wanting to be right, wanting to be morally superior. And it is the most convenient way to manipulate people, dangle the carrot being the sense of importance. If you make people feel important, you will manipulate them. You will be able to get them to do what you want them to do. If you can get people to feel they are morally superior or superior in any way, you will be able to get them to do what you want them to do. Um, and so that's the first point of the movie. The second point is that the most convenient way to manipulate people is through their trauma, because people are so engaged and they are so tied to the bad things that happen to them, that if you use that against them, you will be able to manipulate them. Meaning, if they were, for example, as an example, they were, let's say, cheated, the boyfriend or husband cheated them, and they were so traumatized by that experience. If you offer them a way to get back at their husband, or be or use that specific experience to make them popular, or become the voice of abused women, you will be able to get them to do what they want, because you're making them feel as if their traumatic experience is now worth something more. So that is how the serial killer was actually able to get victims and to also engage people in the crimes that he was doing. That is what attracted me to the series, because it came to a point where, when the movie was doing to me what the serial killer was doing to his audience in the movie, he was engaging me by making me feel as if I am superior than the movie makers, because he was giving me clues. The serial killer was giving me clues to guess who was the serial killer. So it felt like, oh my god, I'm so smart because I can guess who's going to be the serial killer. And before I knew it, I was like, oh damn, I'm exactly the kind of person the serial killer said I the people are. I have this need to be good at something. I have this need to be right. I have this need to be one step ahead of everybody else, and he made me feel like I was. So, and I think that's why the series was brilliant. It wasn't about really the gore, but just the psychology of all of these things, and that's why many actually end up being victims, because we don't ever think we're going to be victims. We think many people become victims because we just fall into that trap of feeling important, feeling recognized, being right. And before we know it, we're getting manipulated. Okay, so I hope you give the series a chance. It's called um, Copycat Killer. It's on Netflix, and it's a Taiwanese series. It's actually dubbed in English. But if you want to really feel the grit, you might want to just read the subtitles. But it's difficult for a lot of people. Okay, I love Devil's Advocate. That was such a good quote. It is a good quote. It's so on point. Carol said, My mom must be proud of." I hope so. I hope so. I'm sure she is. She say it every day. She says it every day. So I'm sure your mom is proud of you. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just quicker now. It is quicker now. What was the name of Blake Lively movie? Yes, it ends with us. Mickey answered you. Sylvia said Georgia was asking about the series she's talking about now. I don't have any interest in the movie she was talking about with Blake and Justin. The that is Copycat Killer. Copycat Killer. My accent is coming out because I'm from the Philippines, born and raised. Okay, so but yeah, it's on Netflix. So I love series like this. I like psychological thrillers or anything that will make you think. I love those series. And this one's, as I've said, this one was especially good for me because it almost that the series made me feel like the lives of the victims were incidental. um they were not as important as his objective. So which is, as again, it was exactly the point that he was driving at, that when it comes to human vanity, everything else becomes secondary. Bang Luna said, I'm sorry, I'm bowing out. Good night. Have a good, wonderful Christmas. Good night, Bang Luna. We're actually approaching, we've passed 2 hours. So we're also about to head out now. I'm sure that many of you, it's already the 24th to many of you. So I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. But do you have questions before we go? Sylvia said, I'll definitely check it out. I love true crime, psychological thrillers. Yeah, I'll review more in the future. Um, do you have questions before we go? I just want to thank you all. I might be able to go live on Friday, sorry, on Wednesday, but probably just for a short period. I'm not really sure. But you will know because I will announce it on Twitter and on Patreon. But just in case I am not able to, I definitely will on Friday. So I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and thank you so much for staying with me. Thank you for joining me in my live stream. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for supporting me. And thank you for building such a beautiful community with me. As you know, I am just almost incidental here. You guys are so good that you really are the ones that are get keeping the community going. So I appreciate you all so much. Merry Christmas. I hope to see you again. I hope that you get to spend time with your family. I don't know how else to express my gratitude. And also for my Patreon subscribers, if you, I will wait for those. So I gave away some stuff for those who haven't given me, who haven't sent me their packet for me to send the gift, the price. I will wait until the end of the week and then I'll give it away to others. So if you're a Patreon subscribers, I'll just draw names. I will prioritize it, of course, paid first and then the free ones. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I love you all. Merry Christmas. I hope that you greet your family a Merry Christmas in my behalf. Hugs to everybody. And I hope that we all get to spend more Christmas with each other. And I hope that in the next Christmas we will be here, we will be talking about the coming concert of BTS. Bye. I will do Mickey. I'll do that. Bye.